So I'm a used car dealer, and I have been one for 14 years now, and I specialize in selling cars that are $5,000 and under. And over my years that I've been a car dealer, I've dealt with every kind of title brand. You think salvage, flood, theft, odometer discrepancy, the list goes on. And here's the thing, in a lot of cases, you can get a deal when one of these titles, when one of these cars has some kind of brand on it, just like a salvage or a flood. But can that deal that you're getting on that vehicle become a nightmare? And in this video, we're going to talk about the top two that I actually get questions about. And that's a salvage vehicle and that's a flood vehicle.
Would you ever buy a car with a salvage title? And I don't know if that is for personal use or to sell. So it's a different, not necessarily a different answer. But
I can't remember if I'm sure I've had a car that I've driven for any amount of time with a salvage title, but as far as our business goes, yeah, we buy them every once in a while. It's very rare that we have them. I would say 1 out of every 20 cars, maybe you see them more.
Maybe. I don't think it's that many. I think I would guess more 30 or 40.
Yeah, maybe 1 out of every 30 or 40 cars we have has a salvage title. The thing that you have to pay attention to with a salvage vehicle is you have to look at the frame really good. You have to look at the support bars in the front of the vehicle, where your motor compartment is. You want to make sure nothing's bent, that can actually have some safety stuff. But in a lot of cases, you can get a really good deal on a salvage car if you can know how to do these checks, because a lot of cases now, insurance companies, they don't want to deal with the hassle, especially with cheaper cars, stuff that I deal with. If it just gets bumped in the back or in the front, or just scraped on the side where it's just a little bit of cosmetic damage, in a lot of cases, to fix that car, it's going to cost 25% or more of what the whole car's value is just to fix the car. You think a bumper and then paint for a bumper, I mean, that could be $1,000, $1,200. And in a lot of states, if the value gets to be over 25% of what the car is worth, a lot of cars that I buy, I mean, I'm buying them for $2,000, $2,500. I mean, you're already almost halfway there if you have a $1,200 fix. So in a lot of cases, you can buy a car that's barely been damaged and get a really good deal on it just because it has that salvage brand on it. But with all that said, you have to be very, very careful, because safety is the most important thing that you're looking at when you buy a vehicle. So if you don't know exactly what you're looking at, or you don't have a mechanic that you can get up on a lift and he knows or she knows exactly what you're looking at or what they're looking at to make sure the car is safe, then I wouldn't want you to buy one just because of that simple fact. But we know what we're looking at. We know what a frame's supposed to look like. We know where we can run Carfaxes on it and know exactly what happened to the car, if it was swiped on the side, if it was just cosmetic damage. But that's the thing I'll say. You can get a salvage car and it be perfectly fine. But you need to know exactly what you're looking at and make sure it's safe. That's the most important thing when you're buying a car.
So one other thing that I'll add about salvage vehicles, and one thing that you want to do when you're looking at potentially buying a vehicle that is salvage, is get the Carfax. Now, I know Carfax is expensive. I'm not sponsored by them. I'm not trying to promote them in any way. I give Carfax a lot of money every single month because I want to be able to check titles. I want to be able to know if the car has been in an accident. And the thing that's good about Carfax, other than like maintenance reports and things like that, which they're not going to catch everything, but is when there is an accident and when it has been recorded, then you can actually see where the accident has happened and if it was a major accident, if it was a minor accident. But this can give you a clue of where to start looking when you're taking that car to your mechanic or you're looking yourself, because if the car was hit, if you see that it was hit on the back panel, well, you know that you can go under the car right there. You can look at the frame around where the car was actually hit, or you can even give that to your mechanic and say, okay, we know that it was hit here. Let's check in on it. But even if it was a minor accident, I have seen cars that just had a minor bump up in the back, but their entire frame was cracked. There was a crack going through the frame, and that's because even if the car doesn't show any cosmetic damage, well, it can act kind of like a spring, an accordion. There's vibrations that go through the car, even on a minor bump up. And what that can cause is that can cause actual bends or breaks or cracks in the frame, and that's very, very unsafe. So just make sure you know exactly what you're looking at, because above anything, I've said it once, I'm going to say say it again, your safety matters more than anything else. You in the car, your family that's in the car, anyone that you're driving in the car, the amount of money that you're going to save on actually buying a salvage car, well, none of those dollars matter compared to the health and safety of the people that you're actually putting in the car. Now, let's get to flood cars. So with flood cars, my rule is kind of different where, okay, you can check a salvage car. You can know if it's just cosmetic damage, or you can know if the car is good or not. You can have a mechanic check it. You can look at the frame. Flood cars are not the same. They're not the same, and I would never recommend that you actually buy a flood car. The thing about a flood car is that even if it's been in a little bit of water and for just a little bit of time, well, those problems, there's a lot of electrical things that are going on inside of these cars. And electricity and things that have electrical components, they do not like water. You can have grounds that you have no clue where they're at. Electrical problems are very, very hard to detect and very hard to track down and even know what to fix on them. And here's the thing about a flood vehicle. If you have water that sits in a car around these electrical components for any given amount of time, well, those problems can actually pop up years down the road. It's crazy to think about, but it absolutely happens. And we can deal with cars on our lot that we have no clue that have had any kind of flood damage or had any water in them. And there can be something that's going wrong, that's bad in a sensor or something that it's very, very difficult for us to track down. You can get into some major, major problems with flood vehicles, and it's not just a cosmetic thing. So for me, I'm out on flood vehicles. If it's ever been in a flood, I do not want to buy it. But we need to know how to check for if a car has been in a flood.
All right. How do you know you aren't buying a flood car? And there's been a couple of questions about flood cars. How do you know what they are? That kind of thing.
Yeah,
do
so
we
we've-
have flooding here? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, we've had a lot of floods recently around the country, locally to where I am. So those cars should make their way to auction. And what we do to look to make sure a car that we're buying is not a flood car. One easy way, I mean, you can check Carfax, but obviously if somebody doesn't turn it into insurance or anything, you're not going to know. So here, what are some telltale signs to be able to know if a car has been in some significant water? First thing you can do is you can pop the hood. You can look for any kind of oxidation where oxidation should not be happening. You look on top of heat shields. A lot of four-door sedans have converters that are coming out of the front of they have exhaust coming out of the front of the motor that goes down to the converter right there in front, and you'll have a heat shield right there in front of the motor. And if you see oxidation on the top of that heat shield, but you look on other places of the cars where oxidation, you think like a little bit of rust or something that should be forming, and it's not necessarily there, but it's on the heat shields. Heat shields are really thin metal, so they can oxidize quicker than some of the thicker metal that's in your frame or whatever. You can look at tops of the struts to be able to see if there's any oxidation there. Anywhere where it looks like, I mean, it looks weird, it looks tarnished, it looks like you have something that's not smooth, that should be smooth around your engine compartment. That's an easy way to see. Another thing you can do is you can open the doors, and if it's been in some recent water, there's probably still some water trapped in a lot of those doors, so you can actually shake the doors. I can't tell you how many times we've gotten to cars and open the door and you hear the water swishing inside of the door, and you can shake that door and actually hear the water that's trapped in there. Another easy way is to look for stains on carpets. If water sits in the actual cabin of the car, it sits on top of those carpets or sits under those carpets. Mildew happens very fast. Stains happen very fast. You can even just sit in a car and smell that there's been some water sitting. Another good place is to check the trunk. There's often a hole in the trunk that lets water out if water gets in there. But if you have water that's all going to the same place, it can push some dirt and debris and actually get that hole plugged up. So a lot of times you can lift up where the spare tire should be, and you can see water still in there. Let's see what else. Condensation that remains in the car if it's been shut up, if all the windows are up and it sits out in the heat, then you can have actual condensation. It's like a greenhouse start to form on the windshield. So that's another easy place to look. If you go and you're looking at a car that you're wanting to buy and it's got water on the inside of the windshield, then there's water in that car somewhere. What am I missing? I think that's the easy things to check to see if there's been any kind of water, any flood damage. Oh, you don't have any advice for him on that
No,
one?
I would be asking you.
Okay.
So what do you think? That's what I would be asking.
Got it. I think that's about all. Oh, you can look for water. Actually, this is not a great tell because you can get this even if the car hasn't been in any kind of water damage. But water can build up in the headlights and the tail lights, and you can see it actually in there. But if you have cracks or if you have seals that are not if the headlight or taillight has cracked and water can get in there, or if you have seals that aren't very good around the edge, the water can still get in there. So that's not the best thing because you can still have that happen even if it hasn't been in water.
So now my advice to you, if you're looking at a flood vehicle, if you're looking at a theft vehicle, if you're looking at a salvage vehicle, if you're looking at an odometer discrepancy vehicle, if you're looking at any used, I don't care if it's a clean title vehicle, any used vehicle that you're looking at, my suggestion to you, and I tell this to every one of our customers that come into the door when I'm in the office, when I'm selling a car, you need to get your car checked out by a mechanic before you buy it. You need to know exactly what's going on with that used vehicle. I don't care if you're buying it from me. I don't care if you're buying it from your mama. I don't care if you're buying a used vehicle from someone you've known your entire life. You can buy a paperweight of a used car very, very quickly. And your best defense against putting yourself in this kind of position is to make sure, one, you know that you have a good mechanic. So this is the first, before you even start looking for a used vehicle, go look for that good used mechanic. We don't. You want a used mechanic, yeah, but you want to find a good, honest mechanic that you can trust. It's very difficult to do. I understand that, but they're out there. You can find them. Once you find them, then you can start looking for cars. And when you go and find that right used car that you think is really good for you, take it to them. Let them test drive it. Let them put it up on a lift. Let them check it out for you before you buy that car. That's, if I could give one piece of advice in all of the YouTube videos I've ever made, that's the number one thing that I want you to take away from everything. Before you buy a used car, get it checked out by your mechanic.